All right, these are the new 10-2 portal axles that I just bought off of Aliexpress. I'm going to give you guys an official review and go in depth to everything about them. So here we go. This is the back of the axle. The CNC design and machining is actually done very nice. These are 12 millimeter hubs wide, so that's referring to that they are 12 tall, like a normal hub, and 12 long or wide, whatever you would like to say that as. The axle shafts are CV jointed. The stubs are 6 millimeter. 6 millimeter stubs are much stronger than the standard 5 millimeter, and it allows you to run an 8 millimeter bolt. So that reduces any chances of stripping. There are actual knuckles bolted on with two 1.5 millimeter bolts. You can call these arms or keyed top knuckles, whichever refers. Technically, this whole piece here is the knuckle, but this could be known as a shear bar. Your knuckle portal cap bolts on with three 2 millimeter bolts. The overall design of the axle is kept nice and tidy, along with reinforced axle tubes going down to the C-hub. Look at how thick these are. These are insanely thick. I mean, insanely thick. Does that mean they're heavy? No, this is 70-75 aluminum. I would not say that these are heavy, but they are reinforced, and this is a spider track style housing, or known as a Ford 9-inch. Now we're gonna start taking them apart. Your knuckles unbolt with four 2 millimeter bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside of each of those are bushings. There's 4 bushings, one on the top and one on the bottom. Simply remove your steering linkage and pull the knuckle apart. There should be an inside bearing, and then the shaft removes. The axle shaft comes out of the housing, and this is also 6 millimeter material, and it is 4340 chromoly. I tested it. So the CV joint is actually rather big, with a bigger king pin, or technically just your jam pin in there, is 4 millimeter, and that is much nicer than the standard 3 millimeter. Removing the other side, we will take our steering linkage with. If your bearing is stuck inside your housing, just grab a positive style pliers. This you can wedge in there and pull the bearing out. The positive style simply goes into the bearing, you press it with your fingers, and it pulls the bearing out. Now we are left with just the bare housing. We will remove the third member with 4 2 millimeter bolts. Once your 4 2 millimeter bolts are removed, you can simply take out the third member. As we remove the third member, we can see that the third member bearing retainers are also 70-75 aluminum, and those bolt on with 2 screws for each bearing retainer. The ring gear is also keyed. It has a triangular style knuckle, or what you could call as the locker, and that goes on there with a 3-bolt bolt on. The gear set does come pre-greased, as you can see, which is actually pretty nice. But since my axles often get run through mud and water, I'm going to show you how to grease them. This is dielectric grease, and this is what we will be using. Here's my dielectric grease. I'm going to squeeze out a little pump and grab it with my finger. I simply take it and put it where the axle tube goes through and where the axle shaft comes through. That will seal that. Complete that on both sides, as long as well in each C-hub. Now that that housing is sealed, we can put in some oil. This is about 30 or 35 weight, maybe even 40 weight oil. It doesn't really matter as long as it's somewhat thick. I pour that in there about halfway. As you can see, our oil's put in. I can shake it around and it's not coming out either side. That's what you want. As far as our ring and pinion goes, we're going to take some grease, put it in the gear set, and also around. When I say around, I refer to around the outer side of the third member, or the pumpkin. This will seal that up from anything coming out of the back. I'm also going to take some grease and put it around this. Just like that. There's a little bit of grease on there. We can take our third member and put it back in. Just like that. Along with these axles, you obviously also get your servo mount. That does not come installed. And you get a bag with a servo horn, your standard hardware that you will need to bolt on your links and shocks. Your servo mount simply goes on like this, just over that. These are the original size bolts that bolt the third member on. I am taking longer bolts, just like these ones here, and I am using those instead for more leverage and just to lessen any failure, especially with the horsepower that I'm running. Our third member and servo mount are bolted back on. Now we're gonna go and reinsert our knuckles and axle shafts. Make sure your bearing's on your axle shaft and you can slide it in there. And this is why I put electric grease on the outside. And just like that, all of our linkage is bolted back up and we're done. All right, these are both axles complete and done. Greased, resealed, and gone through, and all bolts are tight. So they're freaking an awesome axle, guys. I'm serious. These are a great axle. Tons of clearance. That one just fell over, but here's an AirPods case. Clearance all the way underneath. Just touched the diff. Well, maybe I could come in from the backside here. A whole entire 1.9 TSL, if I can get it to work where I want it to, since it's bolted up. It fits underneath, just like that. You can see the clearance there, but yeah, it's a great amount of clearance. And these are strong axles. Like I said, 6mm stub and 6mm shaft. You can see some of our grease coming out right there. That's pretty normal. Some of that will come out. We'll clean that off with some brake cleaner and whatnot, but oh, sorry, camera work there, but very nice axles, guys. I recommend these. These were $37 or I'm sorry, $27 a piece off of Aliexpress. So it's like $60 for axles, and they're the same thing as Vanquish. Now I'm not hating on Vanquish here, but when I'm just doing RCs, I don't like to spend the money like I spend on my big truck, because my big truck is a lot more money and you obviously spend the money good there. So these little guys, I try to squeak by a little bit, but we're gonna get this build, keep on going. Look at this. This is a 3-gear transmission I also got off of Aliexpress. This was like, I wanna say 15, or maybe it was like $15 or something for this one, or maybe it was a little bit cheaper. But yeah, these are very nice 3-gear transmissions. 32 pitch spur gear. All metal gear is really great. It's just a Vanquish 3-gear knockoff. Very nice, guys. So I'm gonna get some more footage of this thing once it's done soon. The cage is coming along really nice. I'm very happy with it. You can see all of our link tabs and whatnot are done on it, and it should be, I don't know, maybe just a couple more days until we can get this to where we can start wheeling it. So I got an aluminum sheet here. I don't know what size aluminum this is here. Let's turn around. This is 0.25 gauge. I don't know if that's the actual gauge of what it is, but it's a 6x18 sheet. So very nice. It's aluminum, and this will just tuck in right here where our rocker is. As you can see, we do have some metal hanging over. So let me know what you guys think I should do for a color combo. Should I just keep the panel silver, or should I go over and do the paint on the panels too? That is not galvanized. So I don't have to worry about grinding none of that goofy stuff off. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what kind of other videos you want me to go through and what kind of reviews you want. Peace!